Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass. Thank you for watching this Ag Forecast, brought to you by Agrible, the makers of Morning Farm Report. Morning Farm Report software gives growers the insights to make the best decisions possible about their operations. You can get past, current, and future ag forecasts, plus information about how to best manage your crops at every stage. Well, let's start off this forecast video with a look at the total accumulated precipitation over the last 7 days through late in the night on Wednesday night, May 3rd, 2017. We have seen in the last 3 to 4 video updates how the weather forecast models continually called for the development of low pressure systems that would track right here across the central states. And this map shows you what has happened. Over the last 7 days, which doesn't even capture the total precipitation in parts of Missouri, you can see that we've seen an enormous section of the Corn Belt receiving at least 2 inches of rain. In fact, southern half of Illinois, most of Missouri, northern Arkansas, and parts of Indiana here have seen better than 5 inches, with a stripe right in through here that has seen better than 8 inches, some locations pushing 12 inches of rain. Now, I know you've been updated about it. I know you've heard about it, but I'm just going to tell you something. Right now, Missouri is in some pretty serious trouble. We have over 250 roads that have been shut down. And if you kind of step into this area, maybe in northern Arkansas, I'm just going to show you one picture. This is what it looks like. Massive flooding on an epic scale. Now, we don't fully know the damage just yet, but it will be unfolding over the next few days. Now, what I want to tell you is we have more precipitation coming across the same area on Wednesday into Thursday and a little bit into Friday as we get into the eastern part of the Corn Belt. So this has been an extremely wet start to the season. Now, what's interesting to look at, though, is the planting progress update we got from the USDA. You were looking here at a map that shows you the percent of each state that's made its corn planting progress. And what you can see here is that overall, when you average the entire kind of 18 states included in this update, we're at 34%, which over the last, comparing that to the average over the last 4 years, is right on the money for average. Now, that number is going to be a little bit misleading because no more field work is going to be continued here in parts of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio in the coming days. So it's just too wet to get into the fields. Now, some folks have been able to get this water to drain away in parts of Illinois and Indiana, but I'm telling you, parts of Missouri, southern half of Illinois have really been struggling. We can see that some states are behind. Of course, it's been quite cold in parts of the northern Corn Belt, and they're behind in terms of their planting progress. But overall, as the country, we saw in the May 1st update, right on the money in terms of the average over the last 4 years. The most important update, though, is coming. That's the May 15th update. That would be the update that really kind of gives us a good gauge on how far we've made it so far with planting progress this year. That's the first variable the USDA is going to use in doing their yield projections. So with that knowledge, let's take a look at the forecast. First, check out this satellite image. This is GOES-16, our brand new satellite showing you the massive storms that erupted on Wednesday night across parts of Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas. I geek out looking at stuff like this because it's amazing to see the structure of these storms from space. Now, I bring this up because these storms, which may be better seen here in this radar animation, produced quite a bit of damage in parts of Texas, Louisiana, and really in the lower Mississippi River Delta. And that's important because that's a lot of grain that we plant early in the season, and we had some pretty nasty winds and some big hail that rolled through here. In fact, what you're seeing now is the storm reports late in the night on May 3rd. And what we can see is that parts of Texas, parts of Louisiana, and a little bit here in Arkansas and Oklahoma saw some severe weather. In fact, one of these storms that went right through this part of Louisiana produced this video. And what you're seeing here is some huge hail. This is hail that's bigger than golf ball size. By the way, hailstones this big fall at speeds just over 100 miles an hour. So this stuff is just tearing the leaves out of the trees, causing major problems. So we saw some nasty severe weather down south. And as we've been discussing, 2017 is a year where we expect to see elevated severe threat, and we're already there so far this year. Now, let's take a look at the overall pattern to assess both temperature and precipitation in the longer term. Now, so far this spring, we have resisted a blocking weather pattern. That's why things have been so active across the central states. But I'm watching this. What you're seeing here is a large area of high pressure settling in around Greenland and Iceland. Now, why do we care about this? If we displace a bunch of higher air pressure and warmer temperatures to the north, it's going to tend to feed and push a lot of cooler air through the eastern half of the country. And that will allow a ridge to build in the central and western part of the country, keeping it warm. Now, this is exactly what this part of the country needs. Remember in our last update, we saw the blizzard raging in parts of Nebraska and Kansas, really having an impact on the wheat crop. Well, wait until you see the difference that will be made by this huge ridge way over here in Greenland. Let's click play and see what's going on. Now keep your eye up here first. You see that massive ridge settles over Greenland, kind of oscillates in strength a little bit, but there it goes, re-strengthens again, moves towards the Hudson. Now that's the feature that I'm watching closely. We call that the negative phase of the North Atlantic Oscillation. Now come back to the United States, watch this again. See the deep trough that settles in here over the eastern half of the country? That's going to keep cooler temperatures there. Look, ridge builds in the center part of the country. That's warmth. But another trough digs back down into the southeast. You see, this pattern here will keep warmth in the central states, but keep the eastern half of the country relatively cool. And with this newly planted crop, we've got some colder temperatures coming in. And I am a little bit concerned about the threat of a frost, a potential frost Friday night, early Friday morning, and again, early on Saturday morning. We'll talk about that in a second here. So let's take a look at temperature anomalies. I'm going to show you the next 7 days, and this map is going to show you the differences from normal. So this is going to start off on early in the morning on Thursday, move forward. Now see the presence of that trough and its influence on temperatures. Now as I click play, we're going to get here into early Friday morning. Let me step back one step here. I'm a little bit concerned that we're going to see some high 30s stretching into this part of the country, really close here to the Great Lakes. But as we move forward, getting into early Saturday morning. So let's get all the way to early Saturday morning. There we go. Right in through here, there is the potential that we could see some middle 30s, maybe even getting a little bit cooler than that. Now, right now, I'm not calling for major frost threat, but I'm watching it. I'm watching it very closely in the short-term forecast. But check this out. While the cooler weather settles into the east, watch the warmth build out west as we move from Saturday into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And there it is. That's that ridge in the center part of the country. So where we just had a massive, blizzard running through parts of Kansas, we're going to be building warmth in there very, very soon. Now, let's talk about precipitation because this is what's on everyone's mind. Early Thursday morning, the low pressure center that moved across parts of Missouri, Arkansas on Wednesday is still lingering here where the Mississippi and Ohio River meet in southern Illinois. Big shield of precipitation still raining very lightly over parts of Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana. And what bothers me here is that this low pressure system takes its dear sweet time to continue to move off to the east. So as I click play, we're getting in through Thursday, middle of the day, evening, Friday morning. You just see showers and storms continually going over the eastern part of the Corn Belt. And so this is no good. In fact, over that time period, the model's forecasting from late in the night on Wednesday all the way through Saturday morning, this section of the country, big part of the Corn Belt, better than 2 to 3 inches of rain, on top of the foot of rain this same region just received. So this again is just the next in a line of too much precipitation. Now let's take a look at where this takes us in the longer term though, because that big blocking feature sitting up over Greenland could allow the central states to dry down. And this is what I'm talking about. We're going to look at the GFS, the latest run that I could use on Wednesday night to show us what the 24-hour total accumulated precipitation looks like starting on Thursday, May 4th, going through the next 10 days. So watch this. First system moves out. There it goes. Look at the dry down we get over the weekend and into early next week. This is now valid Tuesday morning, and you just saw several days where we're going to see some drier conditions across the central part of the country. A little bit cooler than average, but drying down. As we move forward here, the next system I'm concerned about begins to emerge next Wednesday, May 10th, right here in Texas, Oklahoma area. But watch where this system goes. The latest model updates, which I'll be watching very closely over the coming days, take this system rather than through the heart of the Corn Belt toward the southeast. Watch. See it slide south here? You see, we want that to happen so that we can continue making that planting progress. So the big idea here is that we're starting to see a slowdown in the very persistent precipitation processes that have been going on across the central states. So that overall is good. It's not going to be a complete dry down, but it's better than what we have been seeing. But I do want to point out this one last thing. Getting all the way through the month of May, we can see that we are, because of that blocking pattern that's establishing itself over Greenland, moving toward Hudson, more than likely going to see near average to slightly cooler than average temperatures across most of the Corn Belt when you average the whole thing out. This does not mean that every day is going to be cooler than average, but on the whole, put it all together, we got a little bit of a cool May that's coming in. So this is an interesting start to the 2017 growing season, and we'll be getting some of the information in about who's going to have to end up replanting in these parts that really got hammered with rain. I wish I didn't have to say that word, but that's the reality of getting so much precipitation in this part of the country. So we hope you look forward to our Agrible's next Ag Forecast on Monday. To get Morning Farm Report for your operations, complete with a daily email that shows you a snapshot of your field conditions each morning, go to morningfarmreport.com. Sign up for a free account. Full grower accounts are free if you sign up for our Sustainable Yield Program or for growers who work with ADM merchandisers. Thank you so much for your attention. We hope you look forward to that next Ag Forecast. Thank you.